Hello, and welcome back to Lord of the Horde, and I am your host, well, the Lord of the Horde. So, today, as you can see, we have a new gremlin here, a female one. I am not taking all of your suggestions from the first episode. She is very clothed, as you can see, thank you. That aside, we also have another new guy here. It's Bob. Say hi, Bob. Say bye, Bob. Anyway, so, that aside, I suppose an explanation is kind of due here, because the first video had 2.5 weeks between the two of them. This video and the last video, it's been 3 months. Yeah. So, let's see. Immediately after opening the donation game that I got last time, the first disc would load the intro and it wouldn't go any further. So I had to wait 2 weeks on a replacement there. So, that didn't work out, because after that, then I had to go take care of my father. And then after that, I had to go on vacation. Well, I didn't have to go on vacation, but, you know, I wanted to go on vacation. Kind of a necessary thing there. And then work schedule got hectic. I was working all shifts at one point. It was ridiculous. So that's kind of where I'm standing with that. However, one of my pre-orders came through, so we'll actually be getting 2 reviews this session. And, of course, we'll be selecting a new game. If y'all don't remember, the last game was Legend of the Dragoon. So, without further ado, we should probably just go ahead and get into the reviewing process. So, first game is going to be my pre-order game, and that was basically a retitle, re-genre change of a very old game that I remember from the Sega Genesis that I really enjoyed. That's why I pre-ordered it. So, that game is Syndicate. Yeah, for the PS3. I know I said I was only going to stick in the PS1 generation, but I figured I beat this game within the time period, so why not? So, Syndicate, it's a first-person shooter. It's a very, very fast-paced first-person shooter, which is not something I'm really used to. I did manage to beat it, however. It was a fairly short game. I should say maybe 6 hours or so. It's fun. It really is. The bosses are a little bit... yeah, but, you know, you've got a little bit of dubstep and Skrillex in those boss fights, so you can't argue too much. The combat mechanics with the hacking utensil and stuff like that, it's a little chaotic. You know, you're sitting here doing your recharges for everything while gunning down 50 opponents or more sometimes. It gets pretty hectic, needless to say. The weapon variety is kind of limited. It's you either shoot everywhere or you use the pistol. One of the two. Even the sniper rifle's that way. Yes, it's terrible. The campaign mode is fairly short, actually. The story does not have any kind of closure at all. It opens up with you not even knowing who you are, and it pretty much ends on the same note, to be honest. The only difference is there's about 10,000 guys dead between here and there. I could tell that that EA put out a big push on the multiplayer because, well, you know, they're known for their either, what is it, Call of Duty or Battlefield? I don't know. One of the two of those. That's what they're known for. It doesn't matter to me. I don't like those games. You will never see those on the Horde unless somebody donates them, and then I will have to kill them. But, that aside, no. That aside, I'm not going to review the multiplayer. I will say the multiplayer was a lot of fun. I never had that much fun in a multiplayer shooter online. However, I am a firm believer of a game needs to be able to stand on its own 2 feet, because eventually all services are going to fail. One day, EA will take down the servers, or I can't get network access, or something like that. So, in my opinion, a game has to be able to stand strongly on its own to be considered a good game. So, all of that being said, I have to give Syndicate a D+. It's basically like all my stoner friends in high school. I don't know how they passed, but they did somehow. That was my opinion on Syndicate. Now, as you can see, the case is completely different now. This is my new Legend of the Dragoon case, complete with instruction manual and all 4 working discs. So, there's going to be lots of spoilers ahead, and I am probably going to piss off a couple of fanboys. I'm sorry, Ark and Phil. Deal with it. Anyway, so, Legend of Dragoon, standard long RPG. I put about 50 hours into it before I beat it. Well, for the day, the graphics were pretty good because they had a lot of cutscenes in it, so, and they were all hand-drawn, so it looked really amazing. The music tends to set the mood, but they have the same 14 songs that they just use for all 4 discs, so that gets a little old eventually. But I guess for the times, it was a good game. I remember the game being a lot more grandiose when I was a teenager, obviously, like Medieval, but, you know, we all saw how much I hated that game. So, the story kind of follows this one character that we don't really know much about his past. We don't really know his ambitions for the future. We just know that he likes to hit things with his sword a lot. Yeah. So as the story progresses, it turns into this whole world-saving event, as per every JRPG and regular RPG and so on and so forth. I didn't particularly like some of the areas where it went. The story seemed really drawn out, and there were just parts of it that were just unnecessary in there. I'm not going to go too much into the story because, well, there's not really much story that matters to the story till the 4th disc. Yeah. It's kind of dry up until that point, and then everything kind of comes together, and you find out how every single character in the entire game is interrelated. Every single character. Somewhat annoying, but I can't argue. The combat system... Okay, the combat system is typical turn-based RPG rather than the action-based like you're seeing in a lot of the RPGs of today. It's got, you know, standard attack, defense, item use, but one of the cooler things about it is probably the idea of Dragoons. Dragoons are an ultra-powerful form that you have to charge up using combo attacks for. Basically, one of my biggest complaints about the game is the combat system, because every battle is a quick time event, with the exception of the healer who just does 1 damage and gets more points than the guys who do combos. Yeah, it's kind of annoying. So every battle is a quick time event, and as I learned from God of War, I hate quick time events. So every battle just kind of me mindlessly bashing buttons in ways that I don't even want to think about. Some of them involved lots of controller throwing. I will admit my rage quit on this game was 3. Yeah. So the combat system, it's balanced, but at the same time, so there's a lot of ridiculousness. There's at least 4 or 5 minor enemies that are invincible. Yeah, minor enemies that are invincible. What the hell's that all about? So overall, now moving on to boss battles, that changes the dynamic of the game completely. Battles go from a random waste of time to a battle of attrition where you just want to strangle something. There is no skill involved to win any of the battles. None at all. It's just who can survive and outlast the other guy the longest. And that was especially true in the 2.5-hour final boss battle. Again, no skill. One person heals and the others just hit things until it dies. And they die a lot. Yeah. Overall, the game, graphically, it looked pretty, it sounded good, it had a good premise. And then we lost sight of all those things. There's a lot of really frustrating points. There are some story bosses that you just sit here and go, why? So, I didn't like the game. I had a lot of rage moments. Oh, I almost forgot my biggest pet peeve about the game. Teleport puzzles. I hate teleport puzzles. That is where you have to teleport around blindly on a map to push a button and then teleport back to do the exact same thing, and then teleport back over here to do the exact same thing. They're solvable, they just don't make me very happy, as you can obviously see. My favorite one was it disc 3? Yeah, disc 3, the Lost City, I believe. I forget the actual name of the Lost City, but so frustrating. I could not believe that. I had to go all the way up this one side here to find out that I have to go over to this other side here. Go all the way up there to find out I have to go up to this side here. Go up here, you get an item that makes you go so you can go up this first one here. You go up the first one here, you have to go up the second one. Once you get the second one done, then you can go back up to the first one again. I know all of you can say, hey, you could have just looked up online and there's a code to pass all that. But that's not how I operate here. So, overall, I was pretty frustrated with the game. The game, I guess, for sentimentalists, has a lot of value, but as a game standing on its own, it's kind of hard for me to judge. So overall, it's not as bad as Syndicate. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to give it a C, just a straight up C. It passes. I probably would not play it again. As I said, that was 50 frustrating hours. I really hope we don't get another RPG. I will be very annoyed if that happens. So I guess, well, that's all I can say on the game. So without further ado, wait for it. Gremlins, go! So, yeah, I just did not enjoy the game. I'm sorry, guys, that we're sitting here ranting besides me, but some of that was just ridiculous. It was not anything that I want to do again, I don't think. That was... I think I just heard it's a hard game. Wonderful. Okay, we seem to have reached a consensus here. Hi. Okay, this is one of my all-time favorites, actually. And believe it or not, a game I have not beaten, even though it's one of my favorites. I spent probably a couple hundred hours in this game already. It's one of those really hard to find games. I've seen it on eBay now for over $100 a few times, so I am glad I got it when I did. It is the original Monster Rancher. Yes, I still have it. I'm trying to get the glare off. There you go. Yes, the original. I had two, but that got stolen. That's another story for another time. This game, it's a pretty fun game. It's a monster raising simulation game. You have a farm, you raise monsters to fight, you breed them, do all kinds of stuff like that. One of the cooler features about the game is that any CD that is non-DVD, non-Blu-ray, any regular CD, even burned ones, you throw it in there and it randomly contains a monster. That you get the monster out of random stats, it'll be a random type, but that same CD will generate the same monster over and over again. So, as you've seen my Hoard, I have lots of CDs to pick from. So, I don't know how long this game's going to take, because I've never actually really gotten serious about trying to beat it. So, it's probably going to take me a little bit. I really hope that it's not another 2.5-month game where I'm just frustrated the whole time. So, well, we'll see where this one goes, and I guess without further ado, I will see you all next time.